Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to Dumb SEO Questions, episode 293. Each week we meet here to answer the questions asked on the SEO Questions community on Google+, and also the Dumb SEO Questions Facebook group. With us tonight we have Masataki Wasa. Masataki is webmaster of wasaweb.net. wasaweb.net. He's also a Google top contributor on the AdSense community. Tim Capper is CEO of onlineownership.com. Masataki is based in Wimbledon in the UK, and Tim is based in Corby, about 100 miles north of London. Tim is CEO of onlineownership.com, and he is also a Google top contributor on the Google My Business community. Our first question tonight is from JL Faverio. It's titled Phone Number Format. He said, does anyone here think it matters for SEO if your phone number is in one format or the other? I genuinely believe it does matter, and it should be listed with the parenthesis every time. Looking for feedback.
So yeah, there was a bit of a with Dave and myself, and there's a bit of a looking at different things. And Google My Business does not display it if you're in the US. If you come out of the US looking at a US business, it displays it with it. And then also local business schema.org displays it without. So we kind of all, I suppose, just look at that too. So GMB in the US displays it without, as well as schema.org displays it without. So yeah, go with those, go without, you know. Yeah.
But the telephone schema, doesn't it include the international code and then the whole number without any spaces? That's different from the value the user interface value. So you'd have the number, you might have it as a span, item prop, then the value of that will be the whole number with the international code. But for users, it would make sense to put spaces or hyphens or parentheses. So because there are different conventions, isn't it? If you're in the States, you'd have the local area code in brackets. In Britain, you don't really do that, but you put spaces in between, for example. So there are different conventions in different countries. And I think, but the telephone number itself, if you're going to mark it up, the value, I think, should be international number and the whole number without any spaces. Because that's, if you like, the surest way of telling anyone the right phone number.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think those words and also what can be seen on the Dumb SEO Questions Facebook group should be a good answer for JL Faverio. It's his birthday too, I think, today or yesterday. Or no, maybe it's not his birthday. He's got a new profile photo or something. I can't remember. All right. Let's go to the next, number 2 on our run list of only 8 questions tonight, from Jason Hyingjul Kang. He doesn't know which keyword to target. He said, let's say I have a website selling a product that eliminates shoe odor. I can use different terms like shoe deodorizer, shoe odor eliminator, smelly shoe remedy. These are all synonymous and / variant keywords that drive a respectable amount of search volume. And ideally, I would want my website/pages showing up for all of those keywords when searched by the user. However, let's say if for my homepage I optimize around the keyword shoe deodorizer, and on my product category level page I optimize around the keyword shoe odor eliminator. And on the actual product page, I optimize around the keyword smelly shoe remedy, just as an example. Would this be considered good practice or bad practice? Brackets keyword cannibalization for SEO. I just don't know which keyword to target on what page, because there are multiple synonymous keywords that all mean the same thing. I want visibility for all of those keywords. Thanks.
So the thing is here that people think that you have to just shove these all in everywhere for Google. You know, you don't necessarily have to shove them all over the place or on page or in page. And, you know, yes, you do need to obviously use them, but use them within natural language. You don't have to just use the smelly shoe eliminator just on products, because your product then will just be your smelly shoe eliminator on that particular product. Whereas then if somebody uses shoe deodorizer, they're going to only have your homepage, which sometimes probably won't make sense, because then they have to land on the homepage and then work their way through. Google does a pretty good job of understanding what pages do what, and for what. I would just use it within your natural, within natural language on site. There's also other ways where you don't necessarily have to have it on, you know, the products or have it on page itself. You could do, so for example, your overall top level kind of sound bit is shoe deodorizer. You don't necessarily need to put smelly shoe eliminator on your products. You could literally do a YouTube video calling it "How do I eliminate, you know, the smell out," or, you know, smelly shoe eliminator, and then do kind of a video on that and have that, you know, in either displaying somewhere on site or even doing a an about page or an info section where you only got one section where it's the smelly shoe eliminated, but it ties it all in. Doesn't necessarily have to be on every product page, for example, that you are thinking, as in, I need to put this in. You don't.
Thank you, mate. Will we move on to the next? Okay. Oh, I forgot to tweet that. Just 1 second. All right, this one from Neil Cheeseman. It's titled Enabling CNAME to Subdomain. Neil said it's an affiliate ticket selling website, brand.com. Ticket bookings are provided on behalf of the affiliate site. The ticket supplier number one, ticket supplier, has enabled a CNAME to a subdomain, i.e. tickets.brand.com. Ticket supplier number two, the ticket supplier arguably has a better range of tickets, but doesn't enable a CNAME, and all tickets are bought via their own domain and subdomain, i.e. as brand.ticketsupplier2.com. Sorry, I wasn't quick enough to click that button. Is number two a major SEO/marketing downside by not enhancing the brand name, but Ticket Supplier 2 has a substantial good reputation? Must call out Michael Martinez for the great job that he does through the week, answering questions as they appear.
So just to get this right, he has the opportunity with one supplier to use his subdomain, right?
Yep.
And on the other, he has to use the subdomain provided by the supplier.
Yes.
Supplier.
Yep.
And supplier 2 is better, right, in terms of the range of tickets available and, I don't know, user experience, shall we say. In that instance, I think I would prefer supplier 2.
I agree with you, Masataki.
Because that meets the needs of the people coming to your site and then purchasing tickets, right? That's what you want people to do. And that's how you're going to make money, by people buying tickets off these affiliate sites. So rather than worrying about branding as such, I would look into what's going to make more money, what's likelier to have higher customer satisfaction, and from the description that has been given, I'd think that would be supplier 2.
Yep, totally agree. All right, I'm going to tweet that and we'll move on to the next. Okay, so this one is from Cheryl L. Yancey. It's titled Industry Provided Content. She said, I have a few clients who want to add industry provided content, brackets blog posts, on their site. For example, a plumber will subscribe to a plumbers industry organisation, and one of the organisation's perks is that they provide licensed blog content that their members can post on their websites. It's pretty easy to assume that dozens, if not hundreds, of other members are posting this same content on their website. I've got several customers asking about this from several different industries, so I don't think this is an unusual practice. But how does this work with Google's duplicate content rules? How do you advise your clients when they ask about this? I have been advising my clients against this practice, but the number of organisations offering this kind of service is increasing. So I'm wondering if I'm missing something. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, it's very clever of these other people to realize that businesses have realized that they want to provide some form of content and they're jumping in on it. But yeah, I mean, just chucking it on, not a good idea. And there's two other ways you could, you could canonicalize it back to the original source. Although you're kind of offering that sort of kudos to the original source of the content, which you don't really want to be doing on a regular basis, with tons of content from your site. And then Dave, brilliant idea is, if it's good content and it would be good for the user, chuck it on, but just no index it. So it's on the site. It's just obviously not doing anything for the site, but it's still good for the reader. And clearly you could still, link through to anything particular within the site. If it's talking about, I don't know, a ball cock flange socket defibrillator, and you could then link through to the specific product on the site. So from that perspective, it would be good. But from just literally taking and chucking it, no, you're right in your thinking that it's not a good idea. But it still could be if indexed it.
Thank you, Tim. Masataki, I wasn't sure if Tim was talking about a plumber's blog or Pornhub.
Don't! I've got a crick in my neck. It hurts.
Oh, that's from watching too many. Sorry.
Oh, here we go. It's from watching too many revolutionary videos.
That's what they're called now.
Yeah.
All right, let me tweet this one. Okay, our next number 5. Oh goodness, latent semantic indexing keywords, just a marketing hype.
Yes, because it just, yeah, it doesn't exist. Sorry, someone at the door.
Yeah. Yeah, LSI is something that was just about when Dumb SEO Questions was getting started. It was a popular buzzword, but it's not mentioned much these days other than to discredit it. All right, let me tweet that and we'll move on. And I think I don't need a show of hands to say that the answer to the question is yes.
Yeah, I think people impute too many things into what it means.
Yeah. Christopher Fishback made a sarcastic comment, and then he said, "You haven't seen the sarcasm there." The thing is, Christopher, that if you happen to be watching this at some time, it doesn't help because people are coming to Dumb SEO Questions for enlightenment. It's better not to confuse. It's easy to confuse. Mark Johnson asked the question. He said, "Please give me suggestions on how I can rank my website." He said, goes on to say, anyone kind enough to help out or give suggestions on how I can rank my website? I've been doing my own SEO for about a year now, and I just can't get my site to rank very well. The keyword I was trying to rank for is web design Glasgow. I gave up on this as I was getting nowhere, and now I'm trying to rank in the UK for affordable web design, which appears to be a low. What's KD mean? Keyword what?
Density.
Yeah, but how does keyword density apply on this paragraph?
Or
Anyway.
I don't know. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I had a look at this, and it's in a shit state, to put it mildly. So you've got, on a base level, you've got a issue here where it's called like Mark's photography. And then when you look at the internal page for web design in Glasgow, it's like web design Glasgow hyphen, and you should put your brand name, and then it's like Mark's photography, which even if you were appearing position page 1, between 1 and 10, and someone was looking for a web designer, and it's like Mark's photography, it's like it's a disconnect. So I'm not, initially, I'm not saying go and change the brand, but I would seriously reconsider it. The second bit, and there's quite a few bits to it, but the biggest thing is when I was looking at that site, I mean, I think it was from memory, I think there was 300 odd links to that page, from the most dodgiest sources you can come across, forum comments, the whole gambit of Fiverr kind of purchases. So you've literally, shot, burnt the bridges on that one. And then I even found that, they were ranking for over-the-counter diuretic Walgreens. And Mark came back in the conversation on the thread saying that it was they'd had a hack previously, which that was that result of that. But literally, yeah, I mean, the reason you're not ranking is because you have thrown so many hundreds of crap links to the site that I'm not surprised. You're potentially looking at an algorithmic penalty there. There were other bits, like he was trying to be clever with his local business structured data, where he wasn't actually marking up the business. He was just trying to get structured data to go to this one single URL, where it's not, your actual site. Mark's Photography is the actual business, and then the rest flows through. So stop trying to be clever with that. As I said, the links, you've probably burnt that domain anyway, so you may as well just have a rethink now. What else can I remember? Yeah, you were like linking off that page twice to WordPress and some other things, and it's like, why? This whole thing of linking out to authority sources. Well, you really need to think about that. If you're saying, if you've got your thing saying, look, I'm a WordPress, we work in WordPress, and you feel the need that your customer doesn't know what it is, well, create your own internal resource on WordPress, link it to them, and then one link out to WordPress. But, you don't want to send a customer who doesn't know what WordPress is to WordPress, who's still not going to know what the hell it is, and then may not use the back button to come back to you. Just doesn't make sense. Yeah, so there's a whole load of things, but I think the biggest issue there is whatever SEO you were trying to do has clearly backfired on you. And literally, some of them were so bad, it was like a wrath of Fiverr stuff, which I don't even know that you could physically even contact some of those sites to say, hey, listen, can you remove it? You could go down the road of disavowing everything. But then you run the thing again of the brand name just looking completely weird. So personally, to me, I would, the overriding thing looking at your site is it's a digital marketing agency. So I would literally set it up as a brand like that now. Just, Mark Johnson, leave the photography out of it. And if you want to try and rehabilitate it just for your photography side of things, try and rehabilitate it. But start the new thing. Do it properly. Web Design Glasgow, it's not that competitive. You could nail that within 6 months, but it's entirely up to you on which direction you want to go. But personally, from a branding point of view, I would quite literally set that up, a new domain, and work on that. You've still got the content from the other site. Shift all of that kind of stuff across, properly structure it, whether you're doing marketing, dare say you even offer SEO on there, the web design, blah, blah, blah. Set it up nicely. You've got the content from there, shift it across. And if you want to try and rehabilitate the original Mark, the Mark Johnson photography back to what it originally was.
Thank you, Tim. Anything to add? Okay. All right, let's go to the next. Lauren Miller asked a question, asked on the SEO Questions community on Google+. How does mobile friendliness affect SEO? It's the title. Lauren said, "Hi all, can anyone tell me if the website testing on Google Mobile Friendly Test Tool found not mobile friendly and Page Insights from Google found the website is good?" Now, I need to fix the mobile issue as per the Google Mobile Friendly Test Tool, or leave, or do I need to fix it, the mobile issue? And how does it affect the SEO?
Hang on, what's she saying? But
she's saying there's a clash. The mobile friendly test tool says nada, and the Page Insights say that the website is fine. So she's probably got issues that apply to mobile. Like not being able to select a menu item and so on because they're too close together. Maybe.
You know what? Hey, Lauren, here's a really nice one to look at, which might help you diagnose the issue. Sure, but what's it called? Lighthouse. It's a Chrome extension, Lighthouse. That will pretty quickly tell you what the issue is. If you might, look, the thing is, if one's saying yes, one's saying no, it's worth just trying to figure out where the crux is. Because ultimately, if you figure that out, it will make the page better anyway, from a mobile navigation's point of view. It could be as simple as, for example, your font size. So for mobile, a lot of them are failing if your font size in mobile is not 16 packs, purely for the simple thing now that if it's less than 16, users generally have to expand the text. It's little things like that. Try the Lighthouse. It's really going to be good. And in terms of actually your other question, mobile friendliness, I would say it's worth really getting on top of this now. From the whole site perspective, Google is moving to a mobile first index. They won't move your site across unless it's ready. So that's the first fairly good point. But at some point, Google will shift it. It's like, they spent 2 years warning people of HTTPS, and literally now it's like, okay, you've got another couple of months, and then that's it. We're just going to show non-secure warnings in Chrome. So, they're talking about this. They've been talking about this, and at some point, Google just, I wouldn't say loses patience, but they're like, okay, you've had years of warning. Now we're going to do it. So at the minute, it's like, we'll move your site to mobile first indexing if your site's ready and can handle it, and they actually send you an email in Search Console. Then I think, at some point they probably just will shift it, all sites at some point. When, I don't know, but it'll probably be, quite a substantial bit of time. So the whole thing I'm trying to get to you is you should diagnose this, because it will make the site ultimately better by looking into it. So try the Lighthouse Chrome extension. So simple. You're on the page on your site, you hit the extension, and it diagnoses, generates, works through that particular page on the site. So yeah, give it a bash.
Thank you, Tim. All right, let's go to the next. This one from David Gaskin. It's titled Paying for Inclusion in Certain Higher-End Directories. David said, hello all. Is anyone out there feeling curious enough to help out a fellow SEO? I've got a question or two in relation to this article from Moz, and he gives the link, which can be read on the Dumb SEO Questions Facebook group. The author talks about paying for inclusion in certain higher-end directories, saying it's the bread and butter of more established businesses. Is that to mean that these are valuable, worth paying for links? He later talks about researching candidate directories before submitting anything. He warns to check the cache of the page to make sure it is still being indexed. Does that imply it may have stopped being indexed because of poor SEO or inactivity, and that we need to verify the viability of a directory before submitting a link to it? Thanks.
Okay, so coming from a local, a local thing here, where you're looking at citations. So there are, in every country, there's a set amount of aggregators. I don't know what country you're in. I'm going to assume the States. There's like 4 or 5 aggregators. So one, I would just hit those. And no, you don't need to pay for them, but they do take time, and they'll aggregate out to the others. And once you've done that, forget about it really in that sense. The second bit is, yeah, directories. If you think about the large ones. Directories, even for your top tier ones, if you submitted to them, it could be 3, 4, 5, 6 months before that's even found. I think there's a good article. White Spark did a thing on their one of their submissions, and I think out of 100 top tier submissions, less than 20% were indexed or even found after 6 months. So, some of these are massive directories. Google just literally, trundles its way through them bit by bit. There's no, so it's not as if they not worth submitting to but yeah, but ultimately at the end of the day, I would just pick the top tier. What is worth spending your time on is looking for any niche directories. And by I mean niche, so let's say you're a dentist. So are there any niche directories specifically for dentists, specifically in that state? That's what you want to concentrate on being in. Some of those niche ones are paid for. They might be $5 to get in. Some of them niche ones are even renewable, so $10 a year, renewable. Some of the really good ones have built really nice pages around them, where you can add in additions. Like if you're running special offers that month, you can add articles, updates, and they bring you pretty good traffic. If you maintain them. It's like anything, if you maintain them. So I would spend the time just checking if those niche directories are within your state and within the actual city. So city level and state level. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they aren't. It all depends on what niche the business is in. But then I would move to, so forgetting, you've done your aggregators, you submitted to them, forget about it now. Don't, just forget about it. And then look at your niche. And then from there, then that's pretty much it in terms of your directories out the way. these are still kind of citations, but now you're starting to look for them in the sense of you want to look at trade organizations. Depending on the business, do they have a specific trade organization? Or is the business itself accredited with this trade organization? Well, you are. Great stuff. Where's my listing on that page? Where's my listing with that? A lot of these trade organizations, people will become members, etc., but don't actually have followed up or even, followed up with their membership and said, oh, I haven't filled that out. You'll be surprised the amount of businesses don't. Those ones are good because it's super niche. It's the actual industry. Chamber of Commerce, are you in the Chamber of Commerce? Things like that. If you've got a Chamber of Commerce, local business meetups, things like that, whatever specifically, speak to the client, find out exactly, where they are, what they've done, what have their past local marketing efforts been. Are they doing radio ads? Well, if you're doing radio ads, go back and say, look, I'm spending money with this radio station. Where's my page on the site? All that kind of local stuff that gets ignored, like the hyper-local. Charities are really nice for a local link coming back to you. You've got to take a checkbook out and do something. You can't just contact the charity and say, we'd like to work with you. But now I would like a little bit of info on your sponsor page coming back to me, please. You've actually got to take the checkbook out. So for local businesses, in terms of directories, hit the aggregators, then move on, forget about it, and then start, really doing the homework. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Tim. Well, we've done it again, guys. We've answered all of the questions asked on the SEO Questions community on Google Plus and also the Dumb SEO Questions Facebook group. So that's it for another week. Hopefully we'll be back next week to do this all again. And I see we still have eyes watching us, surprisingly enough, Tim. Thank you very much for watching. Your interest in what we do makes what we do worthwhile. And we'll be back at the same time next week to do it again. But for now, it's good night. Oh, wait, just before I do that, there is a link in the Dumb SEO Questions Facebook group on the first post there. One of them says join in and participate. If you'd like to join us in the green room after we stop the broadcast, you're more than welcome.